Hello, friends. Today we are talking about bees.
I can see them.
I know. I'm really excited about this one because today is Earth Day. So we are celebrating our beautiful Earth, and one of my favorite animals and pollinators are bees. And they're very cool because there's different types of bees. Some bees live in a colony and they live together as a group and they work together, and some live by themselves. And we'll talk more about that in a second. But first, bees love flowers, and you've probably noticed that already because you'll look around the flowers that are out right now and you'll see lots of bees around them, buzzing around, and we have a flower plant outside that we get to see lots of cool bees every day. Today we're having a rainy day, so we won't really be able to see them today, but we'll have sunshine soon again. So first we're going to do some yoga and movement, and we are going to be little bees in a flower, getting some nectar from that flower. So let's stand up.
I can see them.
You can't see them?
No.
All right, why don't you come next to me? So first we are going to start, move this up more. No, but they can see you. All right, so first we're going to start with our hands to our chest, and we're going to take a deep breath in, put your arms up to the sky, and we're going to fly down and touch the ground. Touch your toes, wiggle your toes. Yeah. All right, we're going to do one more roll up. And we're going to put our hands up in the air again. And I want you to wiggle your fingers as they're in the air. And you're that bee looking up to the sky. Reach up to the sky and fly down into that flower. Oh, get that flower. And you want to stick out your tongue because you're going to get that nectar from the flowers. Great. Touch your toes, wiggle your toes again. And now you're going to do some stretches to get into that flower even more, and you're going to get into downward dog. You can lift your leg. You can lift the other leg. And you can straighten your body out into a plank. Because you want to get all in that flower, right? Back up. Stick out your tongue again. Get that nectar. And then you're going to take a nice little nap because you're so tired from all of that. And you're going to take a rest.
I went down on my feet. Oh, no.
And I got a nice little bee next to me. All right, come back up. Great. Okay, so bees love flowers. They like the nectar. Some really like the pollen. They use the pollen. And they do pollination. You want to come sit in my lap again? So pollination is when they bring pollen from one flower to another flower, and it helps that flower grow more flowers. So you'll see it stuck sometimes on their fur, right? And the furrier the little bee, the more that pollen it will get and spread it. Okay, we're going to talk about these little bees first. So one cool thing about bees is that they can be very different. Some are solitary and some are in a colony. Should we tell them about the different bees?
I can see them.
Well, one thing that you might notice when you look in the flowers is some are actually not bees. Can you show them the pictures?
Yeah.
So some are not bees, but they look like bees, and they're called bee mimics. So
They're not bee mimics.
they're not. So they're not really bees. One of them that we're going to talk about is they're different flies. So here, I'm going to show some pictures on my phone because I don't have physical flies or bees to show you. So this one is a bee mimic. So you see how it has really big eyes, little antenna, and has one set of wings, and its body shape's a little different too. So that one is not a real bee, but it kind of looks like a wasp or a bee. This one is fuzzy like a bee, but it's not. It's also a bee mimic. It's not a real bee. But it's got big eyes and those short antenna. So this is one of my favorite bees, a bumblebee. That is a bee, and it's nice and fuzzy and cute. And let's let them see the picture. 2 sets of wings. So it's got 1, 2. It's got longer antenna, smaller eyes. It's got a bit of a waist. And they are very fuzzy, so they get lots and lots of pollen. Here is another type of bee. And then we have wasps, and wasps are not bees, but they look like them, they can act like them, and they tend to sting more, but it depends on the type of wasp. So when you look at flowers, most of the time in those flowers, none of those bees are going to sting you. They're pretty non-aggressive. The ones that live on their own that are solitary, like bumblebees and mason bees, they don't have any interest in stinging because they live by themselves. They don't have a colony to protect. And so unless you're trying to really hurt them or step on them, they're going to leave you alone. So they're not really scary. You can go look close to some flowers and it will be fun for you to see which ones are bees, which ones are wasps, and which ones are venomous. Yeah. So let me just get 1 second. I got someone coming in. Okay. So colonies and solitary animals. So colony bees are pretty close. They're very similar to ants. So when we talked about ants the last time, they are very similar. They have a queen and they have worker bees, and they use pheromones to communicate. So they might go into a swarm and attack together. But you won't see that so much here. And also, honeybees are not even native to the United States. So I kind of feel a lot of people talk about honeybees and how they love them. I personally love bumblebees because
Mommy, I will have monkeys, alligators, dinosaurs, and summer.
you love so many things. That's amazing. Yeah, so bees are very different where if they're a colony or if they're solitary. So they act different. They live in different types of homes. Solitary bees. Should I please sit down with me? I know, we're gonna do the craft in a second. We'll go move over to doing that. Do you wanna go get your paints ready? I should go get the paints ready at the chair. And they might live in the ground, they might live in holes. All right, we're gonna move over to the craft because I got a crazy guy over here. Yes, he's got his climbing spot. Okay. So another way that you can know if it's a wasp or a bee, a non-aggressive bee, is you can tell by its waist. And I wanted to show you that one too. So here is the difference between a honeybee and a wasp. This one's a yellow jacket. So here we have a honeybee. And then here is the yellow jacket. So see how small his waist is right there? He's not as furry, but he still can pollinate. So they're still great pollinators. But they do look a little different. Their wings are a little skinnier, right? That was the honeybee again. So that might be a good way for you to know which it is and how careful you should be around those flowers. But a lot of times those yellow jackets want to be around you when you have food. So if you're eating food and you see a lot of wasps, just don't panic, don't hit them, don't swat them, because they're more likely to sting you. So just stay calm, and that's the best way to do it. But luckily, when you're looking at all your flowers, you're most likely going to see non-aggressive bees. So that is a really good thing as you're exploring and looking at bees and watching them pollinate, because we also really like to watch bees get their nectar and they buzz inside that flower, and they have those cute little butts hanging out and they have pollen all over their bodies, especially when they're really furry like a big bumblebee. So we'll start with the craft. Do you want to show them the one we did?
I painted.
Okay, he's doing it his own. So for your craft today, you can do it any way you want. We did ours kind of simple. You could use hot glue to really stick some of this stuff on. But the biggest thing I wanted to do with this today was I wanted to really reuse items because, one, it's Earth Day and we need to try and find more ways to repurpose, and it's a really good day as an excuse to try and do this from now on. Like Earth Day every day. You want it clean? Look at you. You can wipe it on. I'm gonna decorate this one. He's gonna do his own little coloring one because we already did this one today. So I tried to repurpose as much as I could. I have a can that I cleaned off. I took the wrapper off and I colored it yellow. I want to make sure you guys are putting some tape. I've used duct tape a couple times to protect this side because we don't have one of those can openers that is safe, so they make jagged edges and can be very sharp. Okay, you can color whatever you want. And for the wings, I just used some plastic from a salad container. So I just cut it up, kind of made some lines on it. I might decorate a little bit more later. And I also just used duct tape to make the lines because I found it a little bit cleaner than trying to paint it, especially it'd be easier for a 4-year-old. The other thing I did was I reused bottle caps. Take a couple bottle caps for eyes. That is a beautiful color. I really do. It is orange. Watch your sleeves open. Let me just because this paint does not wash off. And we had little sticker eyes that we could put in. He also made a little mouth with a Sharpie. And I think what we're going to do with this guy is go foraging and looking for some rotten, dried leaves and sticks and put that in there because at first we were talking about making a bee home, but I did some research on it. And there's a lot of different things that people are saying. Some are saying that it may not be safe for the bees. If you're making the ones with holes in them from mason bees, because there could be splinters in there, it could get wet and that could really ruin the eggs. If it's on something that could blow, which here in Washington, we do get some strong winds, it's not safe for the bees. So I'm not gonna try and make a bee home, I'm kind of gonna make a bug home. So I'm gonna do that instead, just for the safety of the bees. The bees can find other ways to have their home.
Look at this man.
Yeah. If you have a really good way to secure it, and maybe make your own big bee home with some holes that you make from some wood with a drill or something, then I think that's great. I would just do some research first before making a bee home, just to make sure that they have the safest home possible. So we're just gonna make a bug home, put some things in there. We'll keep it a little bit further away from our house, but they should be fine and happy. And maybe even then we'll see some birds come in and try to get our bugs. And I think I'm gonna use a stick also to tape to this. Maybe I'll hot glue that one and stick it into the ground. I don't think I'm gonna put it on a tree because of the winds that we get. So that's our idea for today's, just trying to repurpose everything that we can. And it's really making me think about everything we're using. So even right now as we paint, we go through a lot of paper from painting. So instead I'm trying to reuse some paper that we have, some paper bags. Oh, that is a very nice, it's like a lavender purple. Shay's got his pretty colors that he's mixing together. So I find that just really important just in the future. I'm going to talk more about reusing and repurposing items on Friday, and we'll talk about the earth more. But today I wanted to talk about bees just because I love how they're such great pollinators. And after I've done some more research on bees and bee mimics and all that, I've just come to really love them. They're just such interesting animals, especially the bee mimics, because they act that way. They look like bees so that other predators who want to eat them, they think that they can sting them, so they don't want to. So it's a very interesting thing. There's even beetles that try to look like bees as well. So I would definitely do some research and look at different bee mimics. They're really fun, but they're also great pollinators. So seeing those in your flowers is great because they still bring pollen from one plant to another plant. And if you can, just let them be, leave them alone. They're not gonna hurt you unless you see a swarm of bees or wasps, and just leave them alone. I think that's the easiest thing for any animal, is just let them be. You can watch, but don't touch. We have that rule in our house.
Mom, people try to bring them home.
They touch them. Yeah, we don't do that. We don't bring any of our animals home. Ooh, watch your elbow. And we try to just respect the animal in its home. We are going to talk more about respecting our animals and our earth on Friday. And I'm really excited about that one because I'm very passionate about trying to you know, keep our earth clean and trying to really respect the animals and let them live their life, because we are just part of where they live. We are not in control of them or any better. So that is really it for today. And if you have any questions, then you can go ahead and comment on this and ask. I may not have gone over every little thing. I tried to write it down, but sometimes I get a little distracted and I forget some things. But also just, I would love to see what you guys find. Post pictures of your craft, post pictures of bees you find in flowers. We're gonna start having a lot more flowers blooming, and I'm really excited to see all the different bees. And no matter where you live, you're gonna get bees and bee mimics. So it's a really cool thing that we can all share within our world, is we all have cool little insects to watch and admire and just see what they do. So thank you for joining, and we will see you hopefully on Friday to talk about our world and how we can respect it and respect each other. So thank you so much, and I'll talk to you soon.